everyone, it's Feedback Friday, the show where we talk about your songs and what we can learn from them. If you want to submit one of your own songs, go to facebook.com/holisticsongwriting and post a SoundCloud link there. I hope to see you next week. Now, without further ado, let's start the show. Hello everyone, it's Video Findeisen Holistic Songwriting. This is Season 2, Episode 9, and whoop whoop, it's Feedback Friday. Anyways, today we're looking at this song, I Am Pluto's, because there's two of us, and let's listen to it first before we talk about it. Sorry, I just kept going. I was in another world. This song really does take me to a different place. I really like it. It has some really cool vibes. I'm Pluto, first-time holistic songwriter. Welcome. You're starting off really well. By the way, I have a really terrible Pluto joke that I gotta tell. And it's really bad, so lower your expectations. Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse go to a couple counseling, right? Because they're having problems in their marriage. And the guy asks, so, how did this whole thing start? And Minnie Mouse says, he says I'm fucking goofy. Adorable, right? Let's get to your song. First big comment right away. I think your intro is too long. I think your song should start at 19 seconds in and not at 31 seconds in. It just keeps going for too long before we hear your voice. Any second in a song without vocals is kind of dead space when it comes to the radio. If this is on an album, that's a different thing. But if you want people to actually buy your stuff, if it's, for promotional material, as it is on SoundCloud, as it is on the radio, etc., then you want your songs to be as snappy as possible and you don't want to waste any precious time of your listener. That was like one negative. I have a lot of positives on your song. Like, your melodies are great, like really great from start to finish. I like every single melody. I like the lyrics. I like how everything is live, which I don't get too much. And a lot of people are using samples. I use samples as well, but I like that you're doing everything live. Everything is recorded with live instruments, which, has some problems that come with it as well. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But it is all live and it gives you this very real, very honest kind of feeling, which I really like. I also really like the backing vocals in your second verse, which are somewhere around here. Let's listen to that. I'm dry again. Maybe this is the last time. Check this out. Say goodbye. Don't bother asking why. Don't bother asking why. I like that, and that's really cool. I like the harmonies that you're creating with that. I have really 3 comments on your song, if you don't count the intro one. I think that one is a big one, actually. The first one being guitar tuning. Your guitar is out of tune, and so is the cello. And I know it's difficult to intonate on cello, but really you have to figure something out. And if you have to use some sort of auto-tune to get your cello in tune, I think you should do it. I know what you're trying to do with that. I like the croakiness of it. I like that it's imperfect. I like that it's real. I like that part about it. But at the same time, you're still competing with a lot of other bands, and those bands are playing in tune. And it just sounds nicer. I think the croakiness, the realism could come from the instruments themselves, by just having a little bit more, hearing just a little bit more of that sliding sound when you're sliding between chords, or the picking of your nails. And on the cello, you have like the wooden sound of the, stuff like that. I think the croakiness should come from that, as opposed to off-tune playing. So, auto-tuning, re-recording the guitars, I think is kind of necessary for this song. And it's such a beautiful song, it would be a shame to kind of waste it on that. I also feel like your song is kind of overstaying its welcome just a tiny little bit. It's 4 minutes right now, which is a little long for a song like this. At the moment, you're a little bit like this guy who comes over for a cup of tea and stays for 4 hours, and after 3 hours, you're like, Jesus, like accompanying them to the door, and then you spend an hour at the door and they're talking to you, and you're just the whole time just thinking like, how can I get this person to leave? I'm not saying that that's your song, but just be careful with making songs too long. And I like the vibe of your song, but if I like the vibe of your song, I'd rather listen to it again than, you kind of be stuck in a song that's too long. And the one thing that I would change immediately if I were you, and that's the thing that I think is going to take your song from here to here, is a production thing. And that is, right now, I think your production sounds kind of cold. And that's really a shame, because your song is such a beautiful, warm song. There's so much dirt in your production right now. You have the finger picking, you got the sliding sounds, you got the from the cello. All of that is happening at the same time, and everything is kind of out of tune, and your vocals kind of sound kind of roomy and a little really cold, like the reverb sounds very cold. So what I would do is listen to some folk musicians, right, and see how they mix their stuff. One of my favorite is Jose Gonzalez, and he's got a song called Crosses. Beautiful song. Crosses all over the boulevard. Such a good song. Crosses by Jose Gonzalez. And listen to how his vocals are mixed, because they're really warm. There's a lot of saturation on them, a little bit of distortion, makes them sound really close by, really kind of warm and just in your face. And I love that. And he doesn't use a lot of reverb on his vocals. And there's tons of folk artists who do that. You know, if you look at Iron and Wine and all these artists, most of their albums are really, their vocals are really up close with a lot of distortion or like warm kind of saturation, tapey feel to it, you know? I'm not trying to be a dick here, and maybe that's the sound you were going for, but maybe you can find yourself a producer who understands this warmness that this song needs to have more, because this is such a good song and it would be a shame to really waste it. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents worth. Let me know what you think of all of this in the comments. Let me know if I'm just being a complete dick or if you kind of agree with what I'm saying. Just let me know, and hopefully see you back next week. Cheers.